you being lost is part of the experience. I mean, to be fair, that's probably how like all of these games. You know, I'm actually curious. Let me do some research here. How long to beat? How long does it say this is Silent Hill? How long does it say this game meant to be? Apparently, the game is allegedly 7 hours, right? Now let's go into YouTube. Let me see, Silent Hill, full playthrough. Right, so like a full playthrough or walkthrough of Silent Hill is apparently like 4 hours long. But that's knowing what you're doing. So I guess realistically speaking, you're talking like 4 to 7 hours. But I think like, is that with or without getting lost? So to be fair, right, to its credit, with the older games, part of the experience, I guess, very much was the fact and the length, like, you know, how to make the game lengthier. It didn't hold your hand. It didn't tell you where to go. It didn't tell you what to do, and you really felt like you were the one playing the game. But in turn, I'm sure it was also really frustrating, because that's what I personally have with like older games, is that because I'm so used to new, like more modern games that still at least give you a vague idea of what to do sometimes. And some games maybe take it a little bit too far, where they literally just like, you know, walk from marker to marker and do a thing. But with a game like this, it's like you basically just have to figure it out yourself, which in turn also makes the experience a lot more satisfying when you eventually figure it out. As an example, when I found this medal earlier, I also found some chemical, and then I saw the hand. I was like, well, having watched Breaking Bad, I could probably use the chemical on the body part so it melts, and then let's go off the medallion, and then it did. Like, so, you know, what I'm trying to say is that play Breaking Bad and you know how to beat a horror game. But yeah, now, like, it's, you know, like every time you walk into a thing and... Oh, hold up, every time you walk into a room and you hear that ringing going on, you're instantly thinking, okay, this might be a room that I haven't been in. Because I'm also under the assumption that enemies actually don't respawn. Meaning that in a way, having that ringing going on, I was like, oh, okay, this room might have something. Like, it's a, you know, it's a big old exploration thing that goes on. Hold up a bit. But one thing though is the controls that definitely... Don't actually backseat though, Phoenix. You gotta learn to getting part of course, yeah, I mean, but that's you know, the whole experience definitely very much you know, that's part of the experience, because that's how they make the game like longer. Because like I bet if a game like this would constantly tell you where to go, right? If this were to be a modern game, this 4 hours or something would probably turn into like 2 or 3. But because you constantly have to figure out where to go, it lengthens the you know, it lengthens the experience. I mean, it's hand-holding. Is it hand-holding, or is it like, you know, better design? Or just simply just making it more accessible? I mean, you can argue it's hand-holding, but you could also argue that it's just making the game more accessible for everyone. And, you know, games have definitely gotten easier, that's for sure. You want them to run one of the hot... Yeah, Resident Evil, you definitely... But that's kind of what I... Like, Resident Evil Remake kind of... That's one of the reasons why I liked Resident Evil 4 Remake so much. Like, it was a modern game. It did, you know, It had modern aspects to it, but it also just kind of forced you to you know, to have that satisfying aspect of it. Not everyone is a gamer. Some people like game journalists shouldn't play video games at all. Yeah, I mean, there's always the easy difficulty, I guess. It does become a little frustrating though when every room looks the same and you're not quite sure if you are if you've been here before or not.